we can look at great leaders of corporations. We can look at great leaders of political leaders, and they are men and women of profoundly strong, vibrant imaginations. And the ones that are well-adjusted, the ones that are particularly successful, have good moral imaginations as well. So it's about quality. I think it's a quantity question. How much can you imagine? What is that facility for imagining new things? And using it to get to truth, because that's a whole other component of this, is I think we were given imagination as a method of getting to truth, not just reason. Reason gets us to truth in some ways, but some things we can't understand through reason alone. Imagination prepares the way for reason, perhaps.
Talk a little bit about Lincoln's imagination, since you've been working on that directly with your library at Louisville.
I think Lincoln is formed by, as we all are, by the culmination of his experiences. But one of the things that I was interested in is, what books did he read? He didn't read many books as a kid that we know of. There weren't that many around. It's about quality. And so we put a display together looking at the books that we know that he read as a young man. And the two core texts were the Bible and Shakespeare. And he loved Shakespeare. And, he could probably be a Shakespearean figure, frankly. But he loved Shakespeare. He loved the Bible. We pulled together some poetry that he had memorized. I'll tell you an interesting little story on that in a second. But we pulled together Robert Louis Stevenson. He loved the Scots. He loved Robert Louis Stevenson. He loved Robert Burns. The Tales of the Arabian Nights. These were all, I think, very influential, very important. Biographies of Washington. Weems' biography of Washington. All very, very important. His hero was Henry Clay. Henry Clay lived in his imagination, I think, in a big way. But one of the fun things that I've just recently done is, by looking at some of Lincoln's papers, and I haven't done much scholarly work on it, just pulling things together so that I can help my students understand Lincoln a little better, and maybe help some people at the University of Louisville understand Lincoln a little better. But I ran across in his papers a poem that he wrote as president. Now, who thinks about Lincoln as a poet? But he wrote a poem. We know the Gettysburg Address and how important that is. We focus on that. But about the same time, he wrote a poem that's very funny, and I can't recite it. I wish I could. But he wrote a poem about Robert E. Lee coming to invade Pennsylvania and getting sent back to Virginia with his tail between his legs, sort of thing. And it's a great poem. It's a fun poem to read. And we don't think of, again, I think the key to Lincoln Rather's leadership is that he is a man of imagination, and that's not the key just to him. That's understating it. Every great leader, is a leader of imagination, almost by definition, I think now. And one of the things I've discovered over the years is the leaders that I've been around, the people that I've met, the senators, the Congress people, the Supreme Court justices, one president of the United States, in my program at the University of Louisville, as we met all of these people, one thing I've discovered is almost universally, they are readers. They are big readers. And most of them don't read what we call real directly acts of imagination, fantasy, novels. But they read biography. They read biography and history. That historical imagination. And I think that's just as important as novels, because they function the same way. They get you out of your current time. They put you in another place. They put you in another life. They allow you to experience something beyond yourself and adds pictures to your head. And I think when we come up to moments, we come up to a key moment in our life when we have to make a tough decision, those pictures come to the surface. And people that act, let's say, improperly, when they come up with that, they've got pictures in their heads that encourages them to do that. A man who acts absolutely courageously under fire has pictures in his head of stories he's been told, of great heroes that have been under fire before, and he acts like them. That's why story is so important. Imagination is so important. I absolutely think that there is just no more important concept. If we want to help encourage the next generation of leaders, the thing we have to do is encourage them to grow their imaginations and to encourage them, because in our culture, we don't have core Western stories anymore. We don't have a world where everybody has read Virgil or everybody has read Homer. We have a world where Homer Simpson everybody knows, or lots of things. We have such diversity. We have so much out there that we have to be able to funnel them also into the great stories that inform people like Washington and Lincoln and our other great leaders of history. It's very important.